not the destination for exports. It will look at India, it will look at Tanzania, it will look at the Europeans who are buying our coffee, the Kenyans, the DRC. That trend is not giving us a direction of being competitive. That's number one. And therefore that speaks to strength of the currency. We all enjoy our cars. It's not that because the tires are that strong, made of metal. Sometimes being soft is the strategy for you to manipulate, and that goes back to that question. So for me, I'm not discussing budgets in the sense of who got what. It's what strategy are you giving? The thing that is really missing in this economy is we haven't mobilized enough resources, both for the short term and long term. But even we have mobilized the money that should have been in the long term, we have deployed them badly. For NSSF, it's a fund, really, and should be speaking to the long-term investment opportunities for this country. But we have not given Patrick Kayota to convert this money into long-term investments that the economy needs. Because what is going to his desk? Invest in government papers. So he converts a young man's money who is 35 years and won't need this money for the next 15 years, so you can commit it. But because the young man and the system wants to post good returns, NSSF is going to buy a 2-year bond at 16%. Now you have converted your long-term funds into short-term funds. That's a distortion in any economy. Now the guy who is going to a commercial bank is now going to begin to borrow money to buy land. The loan in the bank is 3 years. The land you are buying will give you returns possibly in 15 years. So people are converting short-term money into long-term assets, and then we're converting long-term money into short-term assets. This budget just did that distortion and has done so for the last 15 years.
The James says, now I understand why it's called capital gang. It discusses criminal gangs.
By the way, I wanted to say the positives.
No.
100 is a positive,
yes,
and a half is a positive. When you multiply the two, you get 50.
Right.
You've lost it. So it's not about positives.
Emmanuel Dombo, social media is going to kill you because of the 10,000. They are on it already. He should be ashamed to say a family can live on 10,000 shillings a month.
10,000 a day, not in a month.
A day, even a day is very, very difficult. But Honorable Semuju, where I also may agree with Honorable Dombo, this EPS, those penalties, you passed them in Parliament.
No.
Hey, what happened?
You see, the Road Safety and Traffic Act allows government to do regulations. I don't know whether they call the supplementary, whichever word they use. So the law is there, but within the law, government can maneuver. So they were never passed by Parliament.
Yeah.
There were regulations from the Minister of Works. But the story, Oscar, started with the disagreement itself. You've seen the Honorable Jim Muweza and Otafire quarreling, because Jim Muweza has been the face of that Russian company for the digital number plate. As Minister responsible for security, we are told the reason they brought that company is specifically to deal with the security, that number plates can be captured and so on and so forth. How it ended up in fines, I also don't know. And that's why Otafire was mad at it. I think the ones who brought it are similar to the ones who had brought and constructed the stations for inspection of vehicles. It had nothing to do with the mechanical conditions of the vehicles on the road. It had everything to do with collecting money. So that's why even that one was stalled. Even this one will stall. And I saw Museveni quickly, as usual, distancing himself and saying these things are meant to be for security. But government in Uganda, sometimes they will excite you. Otafire is in charge of police. How did the police got deployed to begin collecting fees? And the minister responsible for it says, for us, we have nothing to do with it. So we have war roads now, NRM war roads, but sometimes also depending on who they represent. Because the other bigger people, Museveni and his family and others, will hide. Then you are lynching Jim, who is thinking is the beneficiary, when actually the beneficiaries are some other people. So warlordism in NRM is what is bringing us to where we are.
The big honchos of people in power. Emmanuel Dombo, was it your idea?
Oscar, road safety should be a result of regulation, proper engineering and designs, and mass education. Enforcement just comes as the last tip of it when all this has been done. And that's what we used to do when we were in Parliament teaching people. I don't know how this agreement, because I saw a snippet of what is contained in the agreement, but I don't know whether this agreement was brought before Parliament, either before signing or after it had been signed. Because when you look at the revenue sharing and what we're supposed to do, that's where the problems begin. But secondly, when the president talked yesterday, the other day during the budget, and then you compare what Honorable Tafwile said and his colleague Honorable Jim Mwezi, then you suspect that there will be a bigger problem that meets the eyes. And the only people who can look through this, now that has been suspended, why can't Parliament recall the entire deal and look through it so that they can help the people of Uganda?
Okay. Honorable Katun. Pardon?
Dombo has found Parliament to be a soft target. You know it will not do it.
But why not?
Oscar. We moved the money
we
moved the money, and I sit on the budget committee in this financial year's budget from Magora to buy ambulance, city schools, completion of health regional referral hospital, including Mbale, that has a surgical ward at 92% completion. And Museveni said, so he arrested MPs for corruption, but in a way also intimidating them. He said, don't tamper with my targets in the budget. You needed to be in Parliament this year when the budget was being processed. But even a common MPs were fearing.
But President Museveni is saving you, because in this world where there are no vaccines, and we're going to rely on vaccines that are imported, it is important, the science we have been talking about, you need to protect certain areas of the budget.
I know.
Let's go to...
Museveni went to Luzira to inspect the put there.
Regulation
and he said they will affect you and he ran away.
That regulation is important, but extortion and also unfair rules, that is really the problem, even before looking at the income sharing.
Okay, there is a little bit of category here, but let me explain why.
In the few minutes we have left.
Yeah, originally, this infrastructure was supposed to be between Ministry of Security and Ministry of Internal Affairs. The reason, it was about digitalized number plates for purposes of curbing crime. Really, that's what it was. However, the contradiction at that time, and I'm sure it is public knowledge, was between the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Security. Because when Minister of Internal Affairs tried to do due diligence on the company that was supposed to be providing this service, they found a lot of things in Russia, for example, that this particular company had never done this type of thing. And the company, they asked, where have you done it? They said in Poland. But at that time, there was a problem between Poland and Russia, and therefore,
just like now,
it was not possible. So the Honorable General Kahindo Tafido disassociated himself from that project or internal affairs. However, Minister of Security went ahead, I think with approval of the Attorney General's chambers, because you can't draw a contract without the approval. So they went and executed that contract. Later on, I don't know how, again, another general walks in, and this time it is General Wamala. From General Muhozi to General Tafire to General
Muhwezi.
Wamala.
To General Wamala. Muhwezi or Tafire to Katumba Wamala, saying now he wants to use this system to, one, now collect revenue. Looks like, because this one is not clear, that the payment for the service had now changed. We are not going to pay this company, but the company was supposed to pay itself from the fines which now Minister of Works and Communication was imposing to traffic offenders. Exactly, because now they come chaos. So you find these guys say, okay, we are going to collect this amount of money, but of this one, 80%.
Yeah.
This maybe for purposes of
Pay
paying
within
that's
72
so
hours.
It was
50%.
I mean, it was just
Extra
utter
fine.
confusion, and I am really happy with the reaction of the public this time. It flatly rejected it, and I'm telling you, it was not going to be possible to have that thing implemented. We go back, but if we go back now, this thing has to be re-examined afresh,
proper.
right from
Dr.
acquiring that
Mumuza.
contract to why we ended up where we are now.
Dr. Mumuza, finish the 1 minute left conclusion. Did these people think about Uganda's income? How much do people earn? I know Dombo said 10,000 a day, for which they are killing him. But to pay 600,000 in 72 hours.
I think now you want to ask which people are you talking about?
You
because
people
when you
in
said
finance.
when you're saying these people, Honorable here has told even Parliament sometimes doesn't have the control over some of these things. But liquidity is always what you want to have. Because every time we're talking about patients, the doctor once says their blood. Liquidity is the blood of the economy and of the businesses. That's why even URA would say Capital Radio, when you want to pay your employees, please, at the end of the month, pay the pay as you earn. We don't want to strain you. That you can pay within
15
2
days.
weeks. Because you don't want to kill the company. Let it pay its employees, as Honorable is saying, yeah, 10,000. 10,000 is the breadwinner. Behind him is 7 people. Because this household has 7 people. But 5, those are the children, plus the mother and the father. So literally everybody has 1,500 to survive. That's not even a chapati with a gum of water. But that's your economy. And you have to live with that now. With such an economy, you don't pay 600,000 and within 3 days. Previously, it was 1 month before the penalty is given. And there's not even a court of appeal. You can't even explain and say, but I was talking on phone, I'm a doctor, I was giving instructions to a patient in theater where I'm running, do this, I'm coming. No, the thing caught you, pay 2 million. You don't want to run things like that, you kill your own self.
So thank you, the listeners of Capital Gang. Thank you, Dr. Mseno, who was here earlier. Thank you, Honorable Katuntu, Honorable Semujo, Honorable Dombo, Professor here, Dr. Mumuza, thank you. We could have discussed Kenya, where people have been annoyed. I know you've heard about that, Honorable Dombo. Then there's Iran, Israel. That's a big story. So listeners, continue that. And I am Oscar Semuyamsoke signing out. You have Rough Cuts by DJ Nyowe coming on.